If we could, I'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. I appreciate everyone being here this evening. Item 1 is for us to establish a quorum of our board team. All of our board members are here. I appreciate them being here and us being able to start on time. Our next item is our invocation. We're honored this evening to have Chris Sweet, the pastor from Grace Temple Ministries, to lead us in our invocation. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me here tonight. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight acknowledging your greatness, your perfection, your wisdom, and your reign. In view of these truths, we must also acknowledge our insignificance, our imperfection, our dependence, and our servitude. As this board meets tonight, may you impart wisdom and discernment to make the decisions which best serve the families which are under the care of this district. May you affirm the things which are good, noble, and expedient in the pursuit of providing the best possible education and opportunities for the future of our children. May you bring attention to those things which have the potential to fall short of these principles. May the teachers be well equipped to carry out their calling to positively impact the life of each and every student who attends their classes. May each student gain a greater sense of purpose and a greater confidence with which to face the challenges and possibilities which they will encounter throughout their lives. Above all, may we be reminded that nothing we have and nothing we experience or accomplish can happen apart from the blessings with which you have blessed us. May we in turn live our lives in such a way to return praise to you for all of your benevolent grace, which has been most excellently demonstrated through the life, death, and resurrection of your Son, Jesus Christ, in order to reconcile and restore us to proper relationship with you. May you receive all glory, honor, and praise. I humbly ask all these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you so much. We'll do our pledges now, so if everyone would stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay. Good evening and welcome. As the President of the Board of Trustees of San Angelo Independent School District, I'd like to welcome all of you who are in attendance at this afternoon's regular board meeting. Also welcome those of you who are watching the tape of our meeting on our public access channel, Channel 4. We appreciate your interest in our students. All items that will be discussed at our meeting this evening have been posted as required by state law. Also, as you may be aware, our board meets a minimum of 2 times per month, and most, if not all, the items on our agenda this evening have been previously discussed at an earlier pre-agenda board workshop. As members of the San Angelo Independent School District's Board of Trustees, we're here to set goals, listen to reports from our superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and to make policy for the school district. Please keep in mind that our meeting is a meeting of the Board of Trustees held in public and not a meeting of the public. However, with that in mind, we have an item on every one of our meeting agendas that allows anyone present who wishes to speak on to our board team an opportunity to do so. I will make certain that we give everyone an opportunity to speak on any item not listed on our agenda. Additionally, prior to taking any votes, I will ask audience members if they would like to make any comments. Anyone wishing to make comments on any agenda item should do their best to limit their comments to 3 to 5 minutes. In compliance with state law, these proceedings are recorded and will become a part of the San Angelo Independent School District's permanent legal record. In order that the tape may adequately reflect the proceedings, I ask that you please refrain from talking while others might be speaking. I also ask, as I remind my fellow board team members, to please turn off or silence their cell phones at this time. Again, it's my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's meeting, and thank you for taking the time to join us here this afternoon. We appreciate your interest in the activities of our students and the business of our school district. Item 4 on our agenda is an item I just referred to. Anyone wishing to make public comments to our board team on items not on our agenda, now would be the appropriate time to do so. I see no one choosing to do that, so we'll move to item 5, which is recognitions, and Ms. Highsmith is going to help us with that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Lyman, and good evening, Mr. Lyman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board. It is our pleasure this evening to get to introduce to you the officers of the Lakeview High School Chiefettes and the Central High School Texans. They have attended camps this summer, and while they are supporting our teams during the school year, this is really when they are judged and evaluated and awarded. And so they are here having attended their camps, and they are bringing some wonderful things to share with us. So we're going to begin by asking Ms. Brittany Sanchez, who is the Chiefettes director, to come forward and tell us about her students and introduce them as well. Brittany?
Thank you, Ms. Highsmith, and thank you all for having my team out here tonight. Girls, if y'all will go ahead and come up. These are my officers for our 2016-2017 team. We recently returned from HTE Dance Camp, dance is a whole different world within itself, much less once you start competing against other teams. We attended camp in Richardson, Texas, against 38 other teams in the state of Texas, most of which were from East Texas. There were maybe a handful from West Texas, so they held their own pretty well. We're gonna start at the end. We're starting with Alyssa Ramirez. She is our second lieutenant, and she is holding a spirit stick for each night at camp. Each night they award about 2 or 3 spirit sticks. The girls won one each night at camp for keeping up spirit, motivating, and the like. The next we have Marissa Hernandez. She's also our second lieutenant. She's holding one boot, which may seem kind of odd at first, but at the camp, what they have is they call the friendship boot, and all the other teams get to vote on the team that they think was the friendliest, the most encouraging, the most motivating, and the last day at camp, our girls were called up as recipients of the friendship boot. Next, we have our first lieutenant and our academy member that is eligible for a trip to Hawaii. Her kicks were top notch, and she's eligible to go to Hawaii with the camp because of her technique. Her name is Lizeth Constancio. She's holding our award for participation and the energy that they provided at camp. So she's done a great job, and hopefully you guys will see her kicking away in Hawaii. Next, we have our co-captain, Blake Luna. What she is holding is the MVT, which is Most Valuable Team. Again, the other campers get to vote on a team each night that they choose, that they look up to, that they were motivated by, and the girls were the recipients of that, I believe, on the 3rd night of camp. So that was really exciting. And lastly, we have our captain, Nayeli Torres. She is holding 3 of the awards we got. The first one is sportsmanship. I apologize. Sportsmanship. Sportsmanship, they were very positive the entire time. If another team did something really great, instead of criticizing them, they lifted up spirits, they motivated them. They also received an award for leadership. They were out there when everybody was exhausted at 7 a.m. Lakeview Chiefettes were out there cheering at the top of their lungs, getting the campers excited and ready to go. And the last award that we received was an award for attitude. They had an outstanding attitude the entire time. Whenever they're going to sleep at 1 in the morning and they're up at 5 in the morning on 4 hours of sleep and they're dancing the entire day, they kept a great attitude. They also received individual patches, which are not here because they're being put on their letterman. But they all received patches for what we call beast mode, and that's just continuing to have a positive attitude and pushing through the entire camp. So the girls with their entire team are headed to New York. Later this year, they're going to be representing San Angelo ISD with HTE, so hopefully we'll continue to have a great year, and they had a great summer as well. So thank you all for the opportunity.
You're going to stand with them, and we're going to take a picture. Oh, yeah, just one picture. She was following instructions. She Yeah, we're ready. Mr. Lehman, now I'd like to introduce Hannah Hare, who is the director of the Central High School Texans, and she'll bring her girls on it. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much for having us. Come on, girls. Similar to Brittany and the Chiefettes, we attended HTE Officer Camp as well. And with that camp, we brought home a few awards. I cannot see who is holding awards. Madison Ofterheide, one of my junior lieutenants, is holding the Outstanding Performance Award. At the end of camp, we have to show off a dance that they choreographed amongst themselves, and so for that we received a Outstanding Performance Award. Who's next? Haley Jaramillo is senior lieutenant. Are you holding an award, Haley? Oh, okay, sorry. Anna Marie Franco, a senior lieutenant, is holding our teamwork award. Like I said, they have to choreograph a dance together. I don't know if it's a huge secret, but sometimes we bring in professional choreographers to create our dances, and so having them choreograph is a big challenge. So for teamwork, to win an award for teamwork speaks highly of these girls and how hard they work together to choreograph that dance. Lily McNeil, our captain, is holding a showmanship award. This is for that performance on that final day of camp, how well you show yourself, present yourself. That goes beyond your dance moves. That includes your smiling and your presenting yourself well. Other officers that I did not include because they're not holding awards is Alexia Guerra. She is one of our junior lieutenants. And who am I forgetting? Anybody? Everybody? Okay. Jennifer Perez is our first lieutenant. She could not be with us tonight. She's taking her driver's test. So we send our well wishes to her. Unlike the Chiefettes, we did a home camp this year, so HTE came to us. That worked out extremely well for us. At this camp, we also had some academy winners. We had 4 dance academy winners, which this is our first academy dance winners ever. We've never had them before, so we had 4. And then we had 11 Kick Academy recipients. So we're very excited, and they all have the opportunity to go to Hawaii as well. This year we have 40 Texans, which is kind of a big group for me. We're really excited. They're all very awesome, very talented. We are looking forward to football season, pep rallies, and then our spring show in the spring semester. So thanks again for having us. We're so happy to be here.
Congratulations. Mr. Lehman, that concludes this evening's recognitions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Highsmith. Our next item is the approval of our minutes. Do we have a motion to approve our minutes?
To approve. Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Hernandez and a second from Mr. Dindal to approve the minutes of our July 18, 2016 Finance and Pre-Agenda Workshop and our July 28, 2016 regular board meeting. Are there questions or comments concerning our board minutes? Any public comment concerning our board minutes? If not, all in favor of our motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed indicate by saying no. Our motion passes. Our next item is reports. I don't think we have any report from our partnership with Goodfellow, and we usually have an academic report.
Mr. Lehman, may I add?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Lehman. Ms. Hanson, I do want to add just we had lunch together last week, a lunch meeting, a planning meeting with Goodfellow Air Force Base, and involved in that meeting was Mrs. Joanne Powell. We had 2 lieutenant colonels and also Colonel Downs representing Goodfellow. So we had a great meeting, and I think my purpose in this announcement tonight is just showing that the partnership is alive and well with our school district and Goodfellow Air Force Base. So we were discussing potential options for partnering in the future, generating some STEM courses, the science, technology, engineering, and math, as possibilities, utilizing Goodfellow Air Force Base personnel and utilizing our students and facilities as well. So, this was a discussion that was certainly forward-thinking, but we are exploring that option. So I just wanted the audience to know and our constituents to know that the partnership is certainly thriving, and we're appreciative of Ms. Hanson and Goodfellow Air Force Base.
Thanks, Dr. Detloff. I appreciate that information. Our next item is item 8, our consent items A through H. Do we have a motion to approve our consent items A through H?
Move to approve consent items A through H, as listed in our agenda.
We have a motion from Mr. Parker and a quick second from Mr. Gallegos. Item A is consider contributions. Item B is consider an equipment forklift bid for the Child Nutrition Department for 2016-2017. Item C is to consider bid number 16-014 for office and classroom supply and furniture. Item D is to consider bid number 16-015, which is for printer or toner cartridges. Item E is to consider bid number 16-016 for HVAC filters and installation services. Item F is to consider bid number 16-017 for a wireless radio wide area network maintenance and repair. Item G is to consider bid number 16-019, which is a bid to raise the floor of Central High School Library. And item H is to consider board policy EIE local. And again, as I mentioned in the announcement at the first of our meeting, all these items have been previously discussed at our board workshop last week. Do we have any questions or comments from any of our board team on items A through H on our consent agenda? Any public comment concerning any of those items? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed indicate by saying no. Our motion passes. Our next item is item 9, to consider bills, accounts, and financial statements for July of 2016.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Archer and a second from Mr. Dindal to approve our bills, accounts, and financial statements for July of 2016. Any board comment concerning our motion?
Yes,
Mr.
Mr. Lehman. In our effort at transparency, we provide all of these reports online. You go to our website, saisd.org, and click on the transparency tab right in the middle of the screen.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Archer, for that reminder. Do we have any other board comments or questions concerning our bills, accounts, or financial statements? Do we have any public comment? If not, all in favor of our motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed indicate by saying no. Our motion passes. Our next item is to consider superintendent's superintendent's recommendation for personnel for school year 2016, 2017. I think we just have a single person that has been included in our packet this evening. Any questions or comments concerning that? Do we have a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
We have a motion from Mr. Dindal and a second from Mr. Parker to consider superintendent's recommendations for personnel for school year 2016, 2017. Any comments or questions? Any public comment? If not, all in favor of our motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed indicate by saying no. Our motion passes. Our next item is to consider our child care services commitment, and I think Mr. Kimball is going to help us with that.
Yes, sir. Mr. Lehman, Dr. Detloff, members of the board, this is the second of 2 required hearings for the San Angelo YMCA after-school program. The YMCA after-school program gives working parents peace of mind by providing supervised care for their children by a professional staff team. The after-school program practices the 4 core values: caring, honesty, respect, and responsibility in all of their activities, indoor and outdoor, homework time, arts and crafts, games, and much more. A healthy snack is provided, and this program is licensed through the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. The YMCA program provides after-school care to all of our local elementaries for children in grades pre-K through 5th grade. Our Head Start campuses, as well as all of our elementaries except for Reagan, will have after-school care at the campus. Reagan students will be picked up and bused to the YMCA. Last year, 830 students participated in this program, and we are very grateful to the YMCA for providing this continuous partnership that is a valuable benefit to our students, our parents, and our community.
Thanks, Mr. Kimball. Questions from Mr. Kimball concerning our partnership with the YMCA? Mr. Gallegos.
Just to let, that registration opened on July the 11th?
That is correct, and they can contact, go to the website, ymcasanangelo.org, or they can contact this phone number, 655-9106, 655-9106. So registration did open July 11th, but I'm sure they still have space available.
Perfect, thanks. And that, we don't have any board action on that. That's just a hearing, and that's the second time we've discussed that. And as we've done in the past, we certainly appreciate the work that the YMCA does, and they've been a great partner for a number of years, so we appreciate them stepping up to the plate on behalf of our students. Thanks, Mr. Kimball. Our next item is to consider district's code of conduct. We review our code of conduct on an annual basis, and here to present for his first time is Mr. Orlando. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lehman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board. I would like to discuss with you each year how we have to adopt the district's code of conduct for this coming school year. The changes that are being recommended are as follows, and they're in your packet. On page 9, the addition of a vocabulary word for the term of dangerous driving has been added. Then it is also defined towards the back of the book so that everyone understands what the definition of dangerous driving would be. The second change is in our ISS options. When somebody does something that draws an ISS assignment, if it does occur with damage or vandalism to a school property resulting in damage of less than $250, we've added that restitution may be sought regardless of the age of the student. So that's the only additions, just to make sure that there is no age limit on restitution. Other than that, the date changes that are appropriate for the coming school year, and that's really all I have for code of conduct. Any questions?
Yeah, you did speak some educationese, so make sure everyone knows what ISS is. Our board team does, but those listening.
I'm sorry, in-school suspension as a form of punishment.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Questions or comments concerning our changes, our suggested changes to our district code of conduct. Okay, do we have a motion to approve those changes? And I guess what we're looking for is a recommendation for the adoption of our new district code of conduct.
Make a motion to pass the admin's recommendation for the adoption of the 2016, 2017 school student code of conduct.
Okay, thanks, Gerard.
Who wants a second?
Do we have a second? We have a second from Mr. Parker. So we have a motion from Mr. Gallegos and a second from Mr. Parker to accept the administration's recommendation and therefore the adoption of the district's code of conduct for 2016, 2017. Any other board comments or questions? Any public comment? If not, all in favor of a motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed indicate by saying no. Our motion passes. Thanks, Mr. Orlando. We appreciate that very much. Our next item is to consider EIA local board policy, and Dr. Ritter's here to help us with that.
Thank you. Yes, we are moving in our elementary campuses from a 6-week grading period to a 9-week grading period, as you are aware. And we just wanted to update you in how we are going to be communicating that to all of our parents to ensure that all of our parents are aware and understand the implications of moving to a different grading period. So all of our elementary campuses will transition from a 6-week to a 9-week grading period, which will allow more time for students and teachers to work through formative assessment and more time for students to attain mastery of concepts so that teachers will be able to work with students more toward mastery of all of the skills that they're going to be covering. We will have progress reports at the middle of the 9-week grading period, so 4.5 weeks. In addition, we're going to be providing guidelines for principals and teachers to help them understand when interim progress might need to be communicated as well, like whenever a student might drop a letter grade between a progress report and the report card period because it is a longer period of time, just to make sure that we're monitoring that on the campuses. So the elementary campuses will begin the process of communicating through flyers that meet the teacher events, which those are this week. These will also be posted at every campus. Every student will have a flyer to take home to parents the first day or week of school in their Wednesday folders. The information will appear in campus and classroom newsletters. The information will be placed on campus websites, and teachers will also place the information on electronic communication with parents, anything that goes home. And so we've sent communication to our principals to make sure that they go over this with their teachers, that they're very thorough in their communication with parents during parent nights, open house, everything through this first 9 weeks of school. So are there any questions?
No, I think you answered all of our questions, and certainly it's apparent that we're giving everyone as much possible communication so parents are aware of the change and that they can check on progress at midterm, between the 9-week period. So I appreciate you doing that. Mr. Parker, did you have questions?
No, I'm just going to make a motion that we approve policy EIA local as outlined by Dr. Ritter.
Second.
So we have a motion from Mr. Parker and a second from Mr. Dindal. Any other questions or comments from our board team? Any public comment? If not, all in favor of our motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, indicate by saying no. Our motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next item is for us to discuss designation of fund balances. We technically don't have to do this until our meeting at the end of the month. As far as a specific assignment for that, but we put it on our board agenda for discussion in case anybody had any further discussion about that, because this would be the last time that we had to discuss it prior to our board meeting to approve our budget at the last Monday of this month. So I was just curious if anybody, thought anything different about what we discussed previously, or we still on target with what we talked about. Anyone?
Mr. Lehman, the projects / allocations are in pretty much the same order that we discussed as far as prioritization is concerned. So it looks like there's some pressing projects that we need to get taken care of, but they are on the top of the list as far as what we spoke of in the budget meeting and the pre-agenda meeting. So I think I'm good for where it's sitting right now.
Everybody else feel good about that? We'll probably just go ahead and list those. We talked about this in detail at our board workshop, and what the district does is during the summer and in many instances much longer than that, we think about projects that need to be done in the district, and if we have a fund balance, how we actually designate funds that the district has towards certain projects. And the list that we were presented with includes about 20 things. Obviously, we can't do 20. We wish that we could, but we addressed the things that, as Mr. Dindal stated, that this board has spent the most time talking about through the years, and also probably the ones that most directly affect our students in the most positive way. So the first thing is when we did the remodel at Central High School, we spent over $40 million, but we did not touch any of the dressing rooms that were on site. And so we are going to repair and renovate. Anybody in the that's listening in the audience or to our public access channel, I would encourage you to go by Central High School, and you'll see that it's not just a simple repair. It's a major, almost starting from ground zero, to make sure that we have dressing rooms that our students deserve at Central High School, and the cost of that is $4 million. And we're doing that. That's a project that will last beyond 2016, but we think we can do that in 18 to 24 months. We've had a increased enrollment, primarily due to not having more students, but just having a kind of a larger group of students coming through our middle school. And we're adding classrooms presently at Glenn Middle School, and that will allow us to add 6 new classrooms, which is a cost of $1.5 million. We believe we can do that during the allocated time of our budget, which ends next August. We're putting new bleachers as well as some covers for shading areas at all of our baseball and softball complexes. We approved that in August, but that's an ongoing project that the funds will be allocated in 2016-2017 school year. And our estimated cost there's $500,000. In addition to our classroom additions at Glenn, we're also doing classroom additions at Fort Concho. We've looked at that for a number of years about where we could add classrooms. It's already a really tight campus as far as space and areas around the campus, but we've worked out a plan that allows us to add a similar size addition to Fort Concho that we're adding to Glenn Middle School, which is 6 classrooms, and we think we're really near ready to bid that now. We have not bid that project out, which is different than our Glenn additions, and that too we believe will cost $1.5 million. And then we've got, why do we have that twice?
What do you have?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that's, and then, we still have some options, with our fund balance on items that we could, move forward with, but most of those are pretty large ticket items, and these are things that we assessed a certain priority to and decided that we would move there.
It has, on my copy that he gave us the other day, has McGill, the McGill HVAC replacement on there as well.
Right. So what's the McGill HVAC replacement?
1.2.
Okay. Yes, and Dr. Detloff wants to add to my comments.
Yes, sir. Mr. Lehman, and I do want to remind our viewers and audience that according to the capacity study that we conducted a couple of years ago, we are putting our resources and allocations where the needs are. Glenn Middle School was recognizing that capacity study as being at capacity. There were only 2 schools in our district that met capacity, and that was Fort Concho and Glenn. So I applaud the school board for designating these balances to areas of need. Early enrollment indications and estimates are that we'll have approximately 1,300 students at Glenn, and Fort Concho has been a challenge for the last few years with enrollment and classroom space. So we're appreciative of the board for those designations.
Thanks, Dr. Detloff. Other comments from our board team?
I was just gonna remind that like Glenn was never touched during the bond construction, and really none of these were, minus, Central was touched, but we didn't touch the Lou Gehrig area like you stated, Mr. Lehman, so, yeah. This is good money spent.
Okay, so those are the 5 projects that we're talking about, and we don't need to do any official board action this evening. We'll address those when we do our budget, our final budget recommendation and approval, and that's the last Monday of August, 2 weeks from tonight. Any other comments or questions concerning that? Okay. Well, if anybody decides they have heartburn about any of that, then we can still discuss that. And I think that concludes our actual business for this evening. Excuse me, our convocation is Wednesday at 9 o'clock at the Foster Communications Coliseum. We're excited to have an outstanding speaker that most of us, I think all of our board team heard, and she's an outstanding speaker, so we encourage, I think that convocation is open to the public, so if people want to attend, you'll leave feeling really good about our students and the activities and the involvement that they have in the district, and also really motivated, I think, by the speaker that we're having come in for convocation. So again, that's this Wednesday, beginning at 9 o'clock at Foster Communications Coliseum. I referred to our special meeting for the approval of our tax rate and a number of other items that we do in preparation for the start of school. That meeting's August 29th at our normal board meeting time at 5:45. Our meetings in September we have a board workshop on September 12th, and then our board meeting, regular board meeting for the month is September 19th. We also have in September the Texas Association of School Administrators and Texas Association of School Boards has their state convention this year held in Houston beginning on September 23rd through the 25th. And I believe we've kind of talked about how we're going to handle that. We're going to travel down there on Thursday and attend on Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday, maybe through our delegate, we'll make a decision on how we handle the delegate. And then we'll come home that afternoon on Saturday afternoon. I was checking.
And just a reminder, Laney, the guest speaker at convocation is Liz Murray. That's her name, right?
Yeah, thanks.
Liz Murray,
Yep.
the girl from the story, what was it? Homeless to Harvard. So,
Yes.
and it is open to the public, right? They
Right.
can go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And she is a great speaker. We heard her, like you said, this past year.
Any other board business? Go ahead, Dr. Della.
Mr. Lehman and board members, we were also very proud academically recently. This past Friday and Monday, state accountability results were released. We are very excited, and we believe these results validate the focus on teaching and learning in our classrooms. We are proud to announce that every single campus and our entire district earned the highest state rating of Met Standard on the accountability system. So we're very excited about the partnership with our parents, the work that our teachers, staff, campus leaders have accomplished in focusing on learning and increasing each individual child's next academic step. So every campus met the highest honor of Met Standard.
May I comment on that?
Yes, please.
Just so that the public understands, when it says Met Standards, doesn't sound like that's not such a big deal, Met Standard. But I had Dr. Detloff check with our surrounding larger school districts, as we all do every year, to see how they did. And the ones he contacted were Lubbock, Midland, Ector County, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Del Rio, and Amarillo. We are the only school district that had every one of our campuses to meet Met Standard. All the others had anywhere from 1 to 12 of their campuses that did not meet standards. So I think that is a larger pat on the back for our administrators and teachers, that we had each one of our districts met standard, and none of our other larger districts in our area that could say the same thing. So congratulations, Dr. Detloff.
Thanks, Max, for adding that. And I think Max and Amy do an excellent job each year of writing an article and kind of talk about our performance and how that stacks up against other districts and that we use as benchmarks, within our district. And hopefully we'll be able to have that same privilege moving forward. But we're all proud of our performance, realizing that, excellence is a pursuit, and we still have, there's always work for us to do. So we can pat ourselves on the back and take a brief moment to congratulate certainly our staff and a number of things that Carl and our administrative team suggested last year that we do in order to improve schools that were either hadn't met standard or that were, kind of on a, on a borderline whether they were able to be successful moving forward. And I think all those have proven to be very successful in helping the students at those campuses. And that includes additional staff members, additional training. So we've provided some additional funding as a board to meet the needs of a number of campuses. And we're proud of the fact that the things that we did were successful, or at least look to be successful at this particular time. I guess that's it. Do we have any item that needs to be placed on our agenda from a forward-looking standpoint, future agenda? If not, we'll stand adjourned.